Hi, I'm Peter Carney from cityfoodgrowers.com.au. Today I'll be talking to you about growing potatoes. A wonderful crop to grow in any vegetable garden. You do need some space to grow potatoes, so first of all we'll be looking at the soil preparation, then the planting, and then the caring of the potatoes. So let's start with the soil. This garden here is our garden has sandy, loamy soil. Potatoes prefer to grow in soil that's a bit more sandy. If the soil is clay, they'll be quite stunted and the tubers won't be able to form into potatoes. So make sure that your soil is nice and sandy. It doesn't need to be super rich soil. And you can include it at the end of your rotation of other crops because it's more a root crop, which you normally put at the end of your leaf, flower and fruit crops. So main thing is for the soil to be reasonably sandy, and you can see in this garden here we've got this small bed. There's a whole lot of potatoes planted in this garden, but this small bed has been prepared for the potatoes, and these potato plants are coming up here. They were planted about 3 weeks ago, and firstly the bed was level, and then we cut furrows in the bed which are probably about that deep, and you can see the furrows here. So the potatoes were then buried down about that further below the furrows, and the reason that the furrows have been done here is that as the potatoes grow you can mound them. So you can see the potatoes are then mounded with soil as they grow up. So why are they mounded? Well, the potato tubers actually grow off the stalk of the potato. So the more soil that you can put around the potato as it's growing up, the more potatoes that you'll get. You could choose to have a level bed and put your potatoes, just below the surface, and then start to mulch upwards, and I've certainly done that as well growing potatoes. I find from my experience that it's much more likely that you'll get mould in that goes down into the potato and reduces the production if you only rely on mulch. Whereas if you get as much soil as you can around the base of the potato and a bit up the stalk, you'll get a lot more potatoes. So as this potato plant gets higher and higher, I'll then get some mulch and put it around the potato, and that will hold in moisture and keep it happy. But make sure you get enough soil around the base. So it's having a level bed. Potatoes need quite a bit of space to grow, so between each of these potatoes here there's probably about 60 centimetres, and maybe at least 30 between each one. Just going back to the planting with the potatoes, to get planting stock for your potatoes, here's a regular potato and it's starting to shoot some of the eyes on the potato, and you'll see that like a little root comes out. Now if you don't have a lot of potatoes, you can actually get multiple planting stock out of the potato. So if you slice the potato where the eye is, below the eye, and then you let that dry for 2 or 3 days in the sun, because you don't want it to be sliced and planted straight away because it might rot. So out of this one potato there may be probably 3 or 4 or 5 eyes, so you could actually get that many plants out of one potato. With the potato base stock, I would suggest using certified organic potatoes, ones that haven't been grown in chemicals, because then you'll have some certainty, and get to know the variety of potatoes that you enjoy eating. They all have different flavours. So once the potatoes are in, they'll come up pretty quickly. Usually within about 7 days they'll start to poke their heads up, and then they grow very quickly, and mound them as they go up. Once you can't put any more dirt on them, mulch them and keep them watered. They don't need to be over-watered, because you have to be really careful about mould getting into the plants. Another thing, I mentioned the rotation of what would come before you put the potatoes in. Because the potatoes are in the Solanaceae family, which is the same as tomatoes or eggplants or capsicums, make sure that you don't put potatoes in after those plants, because you tend to get more likelihood of diseases, and nematodes are a common disease that attacks potato plants. Other diseases that will attack them tend to chew the leaves, and you could see your leaves getting completely mangled by little critters. So pull them off as quickly as you can. Sometimes you may also see, as the plants are growing up, that they're flowering too early, and that may be that the weather's a bit hot for them, or your soil is too sandy. As soon as you see the flowers coming too early, break them off, and that will hold back the desire of the plant to finish. Because once it wants to flower, it's saying, I don't want to produce much more, so you need to try and stop it flowering. So you'll know when the potatoes are ready, when the tops start to die off. But we usually start picking potatoes out even before that happens. Say after about 10 weeks. If you feel gently around the base of the plants, you'll find potatoes. So it's a bit like a treasure hunt when you harvest potatoes, and I always really enjoy feeling around the base of it, because you never know what's there. And then when they're really dying off, just start to dig up, and be very careful digging the potatoes out, because if you put a shovel down into it, you may very likely cut up the potatoes. So I tend to use something like this to just gently dig around the base to pull them out. So that's about it on potatoes. They're quite an easy crop to grow, and in our climate here in southeast Queensland, we can put in 4 crops a year starting in March. We usually put in a crop every month and a half, and that gives us at least 6 months of potatoes for our own consumption. And you can grow them in a very diverse range of climates. Our website will give you a lot more content on how to grow potatoes, and the ideal times for your climate, on where to put them in, how to treat all the pests and diseases, and whatever else that you need to know on it. So that's our gardener subscription at cityfoodgrowers.com.au. So enjoy your potatoes and happy gardening.